about songs and it's about songwriters, people with stories to tell and the gift to make us believers. This week's guests are Dana Clark and Tim Askin of the rock band Dangus Kincaid. Words and music. If we believe the singer, we'll believe the song. Dangus Kincaid is a band of cosmic rockers that exists in its own musical universe. Dana Clark's lyrics are the perfect departure points for the band to blast off into space jams that go wherever the moment takes them. Dangus Kincaid is an exploratory rock of the highest order. Dana and Tim, welcome to Words and Music.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us, Tommy.
You guys have been on my radar for quite some time, and you're one of the only bands around that's actually have a 12-inch vinyl LP record. So
we're excited about
we get to talk about that. But what Dangus Kincaid? What's that mean?
That's a great question. It actually came at the end of a paper, literally out of my subconscious. And
you write papers in your subconscious?
From 12 midnight one night, by the minute, I wrote thoughts that were coming out of my head, and I would, the next time I'd look at the watch, I'd write the next thing, I'd look at the watch, write the next thing.
Wow.
Until about a little after 4 in the morning, and I wrapped it up, and at the end, it just signed it Dangus Kincaid. I have no idea where the name came from, but that was when it was born, and that was about 97.
Wow.
And then it stuck.
It stuck big. So, obviously, you've been a musician for a long time. We've known each other in, music business, circles and things like that. But tell us a little bit about your musical background.
Well, I started playing as a teenager. My girlfriend bought my first bass for me.
Nice.
And it was nice. And, I started in bass because all my buddies played guitar. And they were good at it. So, and I did pick up an acoustic back in the day, but every time I get together with the guys and we'd put a band together, I'd play bass in the band. So I ended up a bass player in most all the bands I played in.
Right.
Well,
and Tim, we've had you on our show before, and how about you? Guitar always?
Yeah, guitar players are a dime a dozen, but for some reason I just stuck with it. Bass is such a commitment, but
commitment to what?
And they're so valuable. I don't know. It's because I've played a little bass and enjoyed it, but never enough to get proficient. So I've got mad respect for Dangus and gentlemen of his ilk who've got such skills with those fat strings.
And you guys have been together for a bit. You've known each other for quite a while.
For years, the Sultans covered a song of Dana's. Since the 90s,
Yeah.
Since our earliest days.
Big royalties out of that one, probably, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I'm still paying him off. He's got him accruing, actually. He's got a tally of them. No, Dana's actually been the bassist for the Sultans of Bing a few times, too.
Yeah. Nice.
There's several tales of saving the day.
The Bing Bass Alliance.
I've got the diagram over here. I'll have to show you later.
Okay, well, musical influences?
It really goes back probably when I was 7 or 8 years old, and the only thing I really had to play with, other than a stick in the yard, was my record player. Mm-hmm. My mom had 45s and 12 inches of the Beatles and Elvis, and that was really playing those over and over and over again, and then I didn't really have an interest in playing music. I just enjoyed. Was playing the records and listening to songs, and I think it was trumpet. Yeah, I started with trumpet in high school, or before high school, and then and that kind of continued the interest in music from there. But I did choir. I quit the band, and I wasn't into the having to work hard, and so I went and did choir.
So you're well into your adulthood. Did you play in bands throughout your time?
Yeah, the first band was Electric Evergreen, which was West Cleveland West Side band. We did a lot of playing, and then I ended up moving and getting married, and then coming back and getting that same band back together again. It was shortly after that I met Tim, and we didn't really play in bands at first. We were just buds and hung out, and now and then, I played in a band called Generation Gap. With some local guys that started that band, and that's I got into really writing more heavily with him. Prior, the Electric Evergreen stuff, I'd only have like a couple of tunes on an album. Most of that stuff was written by another guy or some of the stuff that we co-wrote. And then with Generation Gap, it was definitely more of a partnership in writing. And my favorite album from that era is called The Rise and Fall. And it's a pretty cool CD that came out in '98. And that was my first concept album, which, from beginning to end, it tells a story. If you put the lyrics together and just read the lyrics, it would tell you a story. And that's kind of the same thing that I wanted to do with this new album, because it put the songs together that I've had. Some of them I've had over a number of years. A couple of them were newer, and mixing those together to kind of keep the story consistent, which is really hard to decipher if you don't really know where I'm coming from.
Where are you coming from? Good question.
Yeah, it is a good question.
Well, okay, so do the songs come out one by one, or do you have a grand concept?
They do.
Or, and do you know where they're coming, or just after a while, then the story pieces together, or a story invents itself?
It's really strange. Most of the time, they happen in a few minutes, and it just comes out. And then the rest of the time is really trying to evolve that and create a sound from the idea. But the idea and the lyrics usually just flow right out. And then I've always done a lot of writing with words and writing poems and lyrics for songs that I had in my mind. But usually I would have a melody, and then the lyrics flow with that melody. But the melody usually comes first, and of the chord progression, and then the words right after that.
Do you ever have a tendency to self-edit afterwards, or it kind of flows out and then you put it together, or that's that?
No, it's afterwards. It can take any form. It really does, especially with collaborating with Tim, which was the coolest thing about this album. We spent hours and hours, on melodies for guitar tracks, and he would record sometimes 10 different tracks, on any particular song. And then I'd go back through and edit and take the best parts of that track, which is kind of funny because after the fact, I'm like, Tim, you got to learn the solo this way. You got to play it this way now.
I'm like, I got to learn the solo. I never played.
Well, you did play.
You recorded them all.
Not at the
right.
same time.
Yeah, so with the solos and I think the melodic structure of the solos, that's really spontaneous. And it ends up captured, on the recording, and then, we hear something good, and it's like, okay, use that.
Right, and Tim, you're a very spontaneous person, and you can go chorus after chorus and just go. I mean, just to see you play is an experience in itself, because you know that you're gone. And you and the guitar are one, and there's just musical cacophony just happening. It's amazing. You're an amazing player.
Thank you.
doubt.
And you're the one who corrals it and kind of puts it together, and then you have to learn what you jammed.
Yeah, it's funny that you say corrals it. I call it taming the beast.
Taming the beast, yeah. The wildebeest.
There's a lot coming out of his soul. That it's like, okay, I got to capture that.
And that's so cool. So "Set Me Free" is a song that you're playing out live now. How did that song come about?
That song came about from being torn between two relationships, with two women that I really liked, a lot, and but they had totally different dynamics, between them, and I was torn between those two dynamics, it's like a love-hate kind of thing, and in the end, I knew neither of them would really ever work out, so it's better just to write a song about it than try to continue that and deal with that in reality. The song kind of gives it its place in my memory, and there it is. It holds it.
So words first on that one, or
actually, a friend of mine, Ted Spence, that I was writing with in the late '90s, actually helped, and he got credit on the album for helping write the song. He came up with some of the chord progressions that are in the beginning, where he's playing the C and the E in a different way, and and I used that and played off of that, and the lyrics came after. So,
Okay.
but yeah, it was, you know, I think the songs really, it's just like I have a lot of it's is relationship based, you know, in my personal experiences, and that's where the lyrics come from, and it's kind of abstract sometimes. And you probably, with most songs, you have no idea where I'm coming from personally. If you read the words, I would hope that you kind of come up with your own.
Okay. Well, hey, would you play it for us?
Sure.
I love this one.
Sway me in a way I don't see, but you played me, and I don't want to play that way. All that I give her is all the time I can take. All that I've time for is not enough anyway. In a way I don't see. You betrayed me, and I don't want to walk away. All that I give her is all the time I take. All that I'm asking is for you to stay. My feet on the ground. I know you won't set me free. No, you won't let me be. Sway me, and every day's like a dream. You, baby, every day's the same thing. All that I give her is all the time I can take. All that I'm asking is for you to stay, and I know you won't let me down. My feet on the ground. I know you won't
Matt Fish, the owner of Milk Bar and Grill. I got my start at Cuyahoga Community College. I would say my life here at Melt, I use what I learned at Tri-C every single day. The instructors at the Culinary Arts program at Tri-C were fantastic. I mean, they were so hands-on. I really felt like I was getting individual attention, individual teaching. Tri-C has one of the best culinary arts schools in the area. Hey, it worked for me. Tri-C is where futures begin.
Well, the first thing I want to do now is talk about the album, because the graphics on the album are, to me, indecipherable, but I bet to you have a lot of meaning. So, hit us.
I'm glad you asked. You know, the true meaning, you know, behind the Dangus Kincaid formula is balance.
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 And non-glare.
It's, you know, honestly, Tommy, it came to me in a dream, and I know it sounds crazy. And I don't even know if it was a dream, but I woke up out of a dead sleep. I opened my eyes, and just like when you stare at the sun or stare at a light too long and you close your eyes, you can still see that light. I saw these images in my eyes when I opened my eyes that morning. And I rolled over, I grabbed a Sharpie, and I wrote it down real quick. And actually, the first person I called was Chris Hanna, the keyboard player on this album, who have been friends for a long time. And I told him, I said, hey, you got to come over, bring a 4-pack of Guinness. And, you know, so we sat down, and I actually pulled this 1980 Texas Instruments professional computer out of the basement that my dad bought in 1980 for $5,000. It had 256K of RAM. And we pulled this thing out of the basement, and I still remembered basic programming from the 80s, and we started putting, we grabbed our encyclopedias, and we were pulling out, you know, Newton's formula for gravity and formulas for acceleration.
Because everyone does that.
Right. And we used all the numbers, and we put them in a program and multiplied it times pi, and by the end of the day, we tweaked the numbers so it would equal pi. So we had came up with, you know, the age of the universe. We knew how long, you know, man's been on this planet, and of course we thought we knew, but really we don't know. But the true meaning behind it was when it equaled pi, it came to us, and it was at a moment, you know, we had this epiphany that it's about balance, and about living your life, you know, with balance and moderation in all things, and not being too excessive.
So why didn't you just say that? Oh, because I asked the question.
Yeah, right. But that's where it's from.
Cool.
It's also the album that came after an album called They're Comin' that I recorded with. It was the first Dangus Kincaid album that I recorded with the guys from Generation Gap Band. At that point, I took over the lead of the band and was singing the lead on the gigs that we were playing, and I switched roles with another guy. He started playing bass, and I started playing acoustic, because I'd written all the songs on acoustic guitar, and that's kind of how that was born.
The business of Dangus. How do you find the time to be Dangus?
Well, luckily, because of my day job, it enables me, you know, to have projects, you know, like the album and other CDs that we've done before that. But you know, it's you lose a little sleep. Yeah. You know that. And
well, even when you're sleeping, it seems you're dreaming, because you're coming up with all these ideas.
I'm learning.
Which the songs are coming out of your non-sleep.
Yeah,
or your non-REM.
Recently, actually, been doing this meditation that is like really strange, because it elongates. I feel like it elongates my perception of time during my sleep. So like a half an hour can be like 2 hours, or 4 hours can be like 8 hours. It's really amazing.
Ooh, I'm going to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
Because we all need that. Well, one of the things is Healthy Cleveland.
Healthy
you have
Cleveland.
a concept called Healthy Cleveland.
Yeah, that was kind of the idea came out when the economy, you know, tanked, and a lot of people were looking for jobs that I knew, and I created a HealthyCleveland.com as a job aggregator using Google Feeds and a keyword generator to help make the feeds only pull up jobs available from different websites. So if you went to that, and you could go, look for jobs in retail, you could look for jobs in manufacturing, which there weren't many on that link, but and healthcare,
Right.
obviously. But there's a lot of different sectors on there, and I do Google Publishing, so I kind of use that to monetize the site. And it really didn't develop, and it kind of just sat there as a job aggregator. And while I focused on more of the music stuff, I started a website called clevelandbands.org, which it's got a history of musicians that came out of Cleveland on that website, and it also has a blog of some things that are going on now. So when I have time, I blog on that. I created another site called Jam Night News, which you can spell it either way, NIGHT or NITE, jamnightnews.com. Basically just lists, hey, here's the local jam nights, So,
Right, nice.
And then, and DangusKincaid.com is the band site where we sell the records off of. It's also a smaller grassroots record label that I have. Right now I have 4 or 5 artists on that label. We sell our music on iTunes. And these are musicians that are great players. Some of them play out, some of them don't. And they just wanted to have a platform to sell their music without having to do it themselves, so I helped them do that, and that's how Dangus Kincaid Records was born.
Wow.
We've also got a limited edition of Dangus Kincaid collectible cornhole boards for sale on DangusKincaid.com.
It's on the website. All you got to do is click on cornhole.
One of them features the likeness of drummer John Lasco himself, let it be said, for the record.
And I got to mention John. John Lasco played with me in Generation Gap. He was there, when some of these early songs that were written back then, to put the beats down for that. And he's been, with me since '95.
So, back to the songs. You're going to do a song called Keeny Monster.
Keeny Monster.
Keeny Monster.
In
Like a teeny monster, but a Keeny.
Keeny, yeah, Keeny.
Not so teeny.
I didn't come up with that. That's actually legendary in West Virginia. The Keeny Monster is like the Loch Ness Monster in a way. It comes out of the rapids. So if you go down whitewater rafting on the New River and you get a good guide, every time I've went, the guides will tell you about the Keeny Monster. And the lead singer of Electric Evergreen, when I started doing these tours down there, we'd play down there, and they'd set us up for 4 days and give us free rafting and pay us for playing. But Jimbo had this incredible fear of drowning, and when we first started going out there, it was like we couldn't get him to go on the raft, and finally got him to go down. And the Keeny Monster is about facing his fear in a way, which ironically is another song on the album called Face the Fear that you played on. And but the Keeny Monster basically tells his story from my perspective.
Well, let's hear that story from your perspective.
My mind's in motion, there's a somber whisper in the air. To erosion, there's a humbling ground no one's found. Once deserted, flying by, it follows me. Be alerted, the key deep, no one sees. Surprise, turn to me, will turn to
Tim, Dangus, it's been good to have you here.
Hey, thank you.
So how do folks find Dangus on the World Wide Web?
Well, it's available on iTunes. And
You may have heard of that.
Yes, and of course you can go to danguskincaid.com and click to buy the album there as well.
Excellent. Well, I endorse everyone to come out and see you guys play, because it's a great experience and a lot of fun and a lot of energy. So keep it up. And
thank you very much.
Maybe I'll come and sit in on lead act.
You're welcome anytime, Tommy.
Okay.
Definitely.
I'm Tommy Wiggins, and you're watching Words and Music. We've been hanging out with Dana and Tim from the Cleveland Space Rockers Dangus Kincaid. We'll see you next time for another round of Words and Music. Thank you for joining us on Crooked River Groove. I'm Tommy Wiggins, Director of Recording Arts and Technology at Cuyahoga Community College in Cleveland. Dangus Kincaid is a band of cosmic rockers that turns each song into an adventure. Singer-songwriter and bassist Dana Clark's lyrics stoke the flames, and the band blasts off to wherever the song decides to take them. We present the musically adventurous Dangus Kincaid on Crooked River Groove.
like there was something between us.
Just fade with time. Others try to look inside our mind. We're gonna find a getaway. No one's going back again. It seems when we're astray, we're blowing. It's flowing from within, and it seems like it'll never end, and no one's going back again. We're blowing in the wind. This rhyme and explore your mind. We're going back for one more try. Come from so far away, no fear of knowing what we'll find. It's flowing from within, and it seems like it'll never end, and no one's going back again. I saw 1,000 lives before my eyes, measured by numbers born and died. Nothing else is spoken to all life. If these three rest in peace when it's time. that your spirit coming towards me. We tried to fly away, but the skies were closed. I feel that it's believing that keeps us here on. I feel that you're receding, whatever it means. I need to know. I need to know. That you're receding, whatever it means. I need to know. I feel that it's believing that keeps us here on our own. We try to fly high away, but the skies were closed. In the glimpse of an eye, I catch your spirit coming towards me. Coming towards me. at all. When you open your eyes, don't forget to see the faces of the people we met. Hearing their names as they're passing you by don't seem the same as when they're right by your side. When you open your eyes, don't forget to see the faces of the people we met. Hearing their names as they're passing you by don't seem the same as when they're right by your side. Can't fight for my way, can't fight for yours. But day to day we live, and the future we don't give. But day, there's our way, but not at all. Not at all. Not at all. We don't